Alright guys, so we got this little mock-up that I did here. We got our daylight sensor and we got 3 layers of lights like we've got on the clock. The important thing to note here is the amount of redstone before the repeater. Once it hits the repeater, it magnifies the signal strength to maximum. So you can see we've got 1 space on the first layer, 2 spaces to the repeater on the second layer, and then there's that third repeater there has 3 redstone going to it. So they will light up on a signal strength of 1, 2, and 3 respectively. The wall here was just testing whether or not shadows would affect the sensor at all, which I figured out it does not, so we don't have to worry about that. Now for our purposes, we want a nighttime sensor, so you're going to want to right click it. However, for setting it up, it might be easier to leave it in the daylight setting just so that you can make sure that your connections are all working. There's a little bit of trial and error here, so ignore the redstone specifics until we get to the end here and I will show it complete. It's just a little tricky fitting everything into this tiny area with all the lights so close together. So we actually ended up with 1, 3, and 5 for our spacing. You can see the redstone going up to that first repeater and the second repeater and then the third repeater right up there. And if you aren't aware, you can jump slabs with the redstone. Even though it doesn't necessarily look connected, you can see the way those lines draw towards each other. That shows that it is connected. I put repeaters wherever the blackstone borders were, except for the far edge, because where the repeaters are turned sideways, it doesn't feed signal into the light, and you leave the one out so that you don't create a feedback loop with your repeaters that powers itself. One more important thing here is just to make sure that your daylight sensor is open to the sky, so there's nothing directly above it, because that will affect the output strength. So now we'll just fly over here real quick and see what we've made, and I'll do a little time lapse of waiting on the sun to go down, and we'll test the sleeping times, and you'll see that once the third layer has lit up, that it will let us sleep.